welcome to the special edition of India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan, and joining me from our studios in Delhi, Nantara. Nantara, we've got a packed show lined up today, don't we?
That's right, Shireen. So let's take our viewers to the headlines. Pepsi threatens to pull the plug on the Indian Premier League. Sources say the company will withdraw as the title sponsor after telling BCCI IPL has brought disrepute to the game. A strong case to a solid week on Dalal Street. The Sensex reclaims 27,000. The Nifty rallies 3% this week.
झटपट पकाओ, बिल पे खाओ, ये हमारा स्लोगन होगा.
Baba Ramdev's Patanjali joins hands with Kishore Biyani's future group. Patanjali products will now be available across all future outlets. Expect to clock revenues worth 1,000 crore rupees in less than 2 years. The government moves faster to ease the debt burden on power distribution companies. Sources say the FRBM headroom will be put to use and the debt will be converted into state government-backed bonds. That's a CNBC TV18 exclusive. Trucks entering Delhi will soon have to pay an environmental surcharge. Supreme Court gives the go-ahead for the green tax to help fight pollution in the world's most polluted city. Private equity player Apex Partners is all set to log into Zensar Technologies, set to buy over 23% stake from Electra Partners for over 850 crore rupees. Infosys is expected to set the benchmark for IT companies with its second quarter earnings on Monday. The street expects dollar revenues to rise 3.6%, margins to hit 25%.
Everything there's a limit. They can't take it for granted, everything. Today they'll ban this, tomorrow they'll ban that.
The Health Minister of Karnataka hits out at the Central Food Regulator over the Maggi ban. Hints the state could soon lift that ban. That's a CNBC TV18 exclusive. And we continue traveling inside Marathwada, India's drought capital. Tonight, we'll bring you the plight of soybean farmers.
हमारे कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर आसिम साहब के खिलाफ भ्रष्टाचार की बहुत गंभीर कंप्लेंट आई और आज हम निर्णय ले रहे हैं कि हम उनको मंत्री पद से हटा रहे हैं.
Well, this man creates history once again. Arvind Kejriwal, in an unprecedented move, has sacked his own cabinet minister live on television. The Food Supplies Minister, Asim Khan, has been sacked by the Delhi government and the Delhi Chief Minister on charges of corruption. We will, of course, be tracking that story. He has even referred the matter to the CBI, Nantara.
That's right. It's apparently a bribe of 6 lakh rupees that was received by Asim Khan. A detailed report, like Shireen was saying, coming up for you in India Business Hour. But Shireen, let's talk about Dalal Street first. Turned out to be a strong close to a solid week. A choppy day, but bulls managed to prevail in the last 60 minutes. Sensex rallied over 200 points. It reconquered 27,000. The Nifty, that was up by 60 points and is now within kissing distance of 8,200. The mid-caps, they underperformed in trade with the index ending with marginal losses. So that was as far as today goes. But if you look at it on a weekly basis, the Nifty ended in the green, up by 3%. And even the Sensex, the mid-cap index, all of them closing in the green very comfortably. And Shireen, the other big headline coming in from IPL.
Well, that's right. It hasn't been a bad week at all for our market center. But let's talk about the top story. And this one has been in the making for a while now. Pepsi has once again threatened to pull the plug on its contract for the IPL ahead of the 8th edition of the IPL. Its contract, which is worth 400 crore rupees, expires in 2017. And now Pepsi has said that it is considering withdrawing its sponsorship on account of the disrepute that IPL has brought to the game of cricket. My question is, and this is what I'm curious about, the IPL scandal scandal broke out several months ago. Even then, there were rumors or murmurs about Pepsi pulling the plug as far as the IPL sponsorship was concerned. At that point in time, there was a very plain vanilla response that had come in from Pepsi saying that they would consider all options at the most appropriate time. So why now, and why do they continue to threaten? Why haven't they pulled the plug just yet? Well, Rajiv Shukla, the IPL chairman, downplays the incident, but let's listen in and then we'll talk about it more.
As far as this Pepsi thing is concerned, we are in constant consultation with them. We are working out a solution with them. We are addressing their concerns. They are addressing our concerns. And I think talks are going on in a very cordial relationship. They have been a long-standing partners. So I don't think there would be any problem. We will work it out, and whatever solution will be found out, we will let you know.
Well, that is the IPL chairman Rajiv Shukla saying that both sides are talking or negotiating over concerns and that he is hopeful that a solution will be arrived at. Let's go across to the editor of Storyboard, Anant Nangaswamy. He joins us now. Anant, I know you've been working the phones this evening trying to get to the bottom of this story. As I was pointing out, this is not the first time that we've heard of the possibility of Pepsi pulling the plug. And I use that word very carefully because when the IPL scandal broke, even then there were rumors that Pepsi may in fact pull the plug. What do you make of the IPL chairman's statement there that both sides are addressing each other's concerns and will arrive at a solution?
I think it's ridiculous. I mean, what concerns does BCCI have? You know, they have no concerns. I mean, it's not as if Pepsi has reneged on anything or let the BCCI down. I think this is an early statement. I think they will pull out. We've seen a similar play out when it came to, say, the big sponsors of the FIFA World Cup, you know, and they first make these vanilla statements, as you called it, and then they get aggressive, and then if they feel their concerns are not being addressed, they do pull out. I think this time Pepsi will pull out.
Okay, you're saying that you believe that Pepsi will pull out, but why haven't they already, Anant? Because, you know, this has been a matter that's been brewing for several months now. The IPL scandal broke several months ago. If Pepsi feels so strongly about the fact that IPL has brought disrepute to the game of cricket and hence by association it will bring disrepute to the brand, why hasn't Pepsi pulled the plug already? Do you believe that there could be contractual obligations and perhaps that's the reason why we haven't seen them walk out?
I think that's one. Pepsi will be checking with their legal teams every little detail in the contract. But I think the more important thing is, if you look at the IPL, the timing of when it's held and so on, it is tailor-made for the carbonated soft drink market. You know, it starts in April, May, June it plays out, and that's 3 out of 4 of the biggest months in the soft drink market in India. So it's not easy to walk out because they'll have to replace the audiences they may or may not lose in the IPL. It's not an easy decision, but I think the uncertainty that has been building within the IPL for the from 2010 really, you know, when you weren't sure where the tournament would be held, you're not sure how many teams will be playing, and then the bad headlines dominate the good headlines. I think these are very difficult things, and I do think that even now when, you know, you've had Shashank Manohar saying that he will clean up the BCCI and so on. There's no control over what other players might do. You don't know whether Srinivasan will go to court. You don't know how the court will play it. Even last year we weren't sure, you know, when the tournament would be held or whether it would be held. So these are tough.
You're right. There's all kinds of uncertainty that people will have to deal with. But 2 quick questions, Anant.
Yeah.
One, do you believe that this discussion that's currently on between Pepsi and the IPL, as IPL chairman Rajiv Shukla was alluding to, do you believe that we could perhaps see some sort of renegotiation as far as the contract is concerned, perhaps the prices being revised downwards, which could then be advantage as far as Pepsi is concerned? And secondly, if Pepsi were to walk, which you believe it will, then will there be an easy replacement to find as far as the BCCI and the IPL is concerned?
Yeah, actually, I'll give you a combined answer. I think, you see, Pepsi's commitment was about 80 crores per year, and it's a 5-year contract. So it's a 396 crore commitment to the IPL. Now, if you add other costs attendant to the sponsorship, it's almost a 1:2 ratio. So you could say, it's a 1,000 crore commitment to IPL, really. I mean, which is revolving around the IPL. Now, there are not many categories which need disproportionate audiences in 3-4 months. You know, for example, let's take a motor car company. They want to be present through the year. Now, like I said, it's very, very difficult, and we've got whole categories in trouble. For example, we started with the DLF, the first sponsor of the IPL. The whole housing category is in trouble. No, I don't know.
The real estate industry virtually crashed, yeah.
I think they will negotiate downward. That will be the attempt to stay. But I think it will be a tough ask, because I don't think Pepsi will buy it for less than 300, for more than 300 crores. So that's a, shaving off 25-30%. At that price, it might be a gamble worth taking.
Well, it may be a gamble worth taking, and the question now is the IPL feeling, or the BCCI feeling, that desperate at this point in time? Well, Ananta, time will tell which way this moves, but appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. That is the big story that we will continue to track, the possibility of Pepsi pulling the plug on the IPL, which continues to be mired in all kinds of controversies. But on to a story that we broke right here on CNBC TV 18, and today it is official. The Future Group is tied up with Baba Ramdev's Patanjali, and look at the aspiration. Baba Ramdev says that he wants Patanjali to be one of the top 3 FMCG companies in the country. Someone has just tweeted me saying that this could be the WhatsApp moment for the FMCG industry in India. Here's a special report on what the Patanjali future tie-up means for Indian FMCG.
पूरा देश खाने वाला है और कहने वाला है झटपट पकाओ बेफिक्र खाओ.
Big plans from yoga guru Baba Ramdev for his brainchild Patanjali. The company, which manufactures and sells indigenous consumer products, is banking on its exclusive tie-up with Kishore Biyani's Future Group to rapidly increase distribution and become India's largest FMCG brand. But why the Future Group?
पतंजलि स्वदेशी ब्रांड है और बिग बाजार देश की सबसे बड़ी स्वदेशी रिटेल चेन है. तो मॉडर्न ट्रेंड में हमने सोचा एंट्री करनी है, तो बिग बाजार से बिग एंट्री हो.
The tie-up will help Patanjali expand its presence beyond its current 15,000 retail outlets, which range in size from 500 to 1,500 square feet. It will also give the Future Group additional revenues of close to 1,000 crore rupees over the next 20 months and add handsomely to its existing customer base.
We believe there are 1 crore customers who are waiting for something like this, which can be added up to our set of. If we have 35 crore people entering our stores, I believe there will be addition of another crore customers because of this.
For now, Patanjali's wide range of products will find space on shelves across Future Group store formats, from Big Bazaar to KB's Convenience to Aadhar to Easy Day. It also has the potential to grow into a production partnership down the line, with both companies joining hands to develop brands. For Patanjali, this greater reach will help cross 5,000 crore rupees in revenues, especially as its new products like atta noodles and malted food hit the market.
Next year 5,000 crore क्रॉस करेंगे हम. इससे ज्यादा हो गया तो भगवान का विधान, लेकिन थोड़ा इंतजार कीजिए. 10,000 करोड़ से भी ऊपर जाएंगे हम. अभी तो पतंजलि आटा नूडल आने वाला है. अभी पावर बीटा जो कॉम्प्लेन बॉर्नवीटा हॉर्लिक्स का एक विकल्प होगा, और भी इतना कुछ आने वाला है.
If things go the way Baba Ramdev hopes, Patanjali may soon be giving FMCG giants a run for their money. Already, the 8-year-old company has crossed the 2,000 crore rupee revenue mark in FY15, surpassing established players like Jyoti Labs and Imami. Bureau Report, CNBC TV 18.
This much is pretty much clear. Competition ahead for Maggi, Top Ramen and Yippee Noodles. Meanwhile, speaking about Maggi, there could be relief coming in from the embattled brand from the south of the southern state of Karnataka, which is considering to lift the ban on Maggi noodles. Speaking exclusively to CNBC TV 18's Purnima Murli, the state's health minister slammed the central food regulator for not providing clarity.
Continuously we are asking the Food Safety Standard Authority in Delhi, give the clarity concerning the MSG. There is no response at all. See, we don't support, I don't know what is noodle, Maggi, and no, we don't support, I don't recommend that you all go and eat. But when the government takes a stand on banning things and banning concerned issues, we should have clarity and scientific report.
By when will you rethink on whether you will lift the Maggi ban in the state or not? Have you set a deadline, or are you still awaiting clarity from the central health minister and the FSSAI?
No, see, we don't have a contract with the FSSAI, and for us, our issue thinking is we have to be in the same line, because then only the people will keep faith and respect concerned any authority is there. But everything there's a limit. They can't take it for granted, everything. Today they'll tell ban this, tomorrow they'll tell ban that, again they'll remove it. We are not the postman's job doing over here.
Well, that is Purnima Murli in conversation with the Karnataka minister on the ban on Maggi. But remember, it really is not up to state governments any longer, because there is a Bombay High Court order which everyone needs to comply with. That includes the regulator, the FSSAI, as well as Nestle, the company in question. They will have to retest their products, and currently that retesting phase is underway. And within a period of 5 to 6 weeks, we are expecting, or that was the time period that the court had given, that we expect the results. And only then will the court give the go-ahead as far as the manufacture and the sale of Maggi is concerned. So that is as far as the Maggi story goes. But you've already got competition coming in from Baba Ramdev and of course the Patanjali group, and Kishore Biyani vouching for the atta noodles that they've launched. And Nantara, what else do we have?
We've got a big story, Shirin, coming in from the power space. The government moving fast to ease the debt burden on power distribution companies. Sources say the available FRBM headroom will be put to use and debt will be converted into state government-backed bonds. Anshu Sharma now joining us with that big exclusive. Anshu, this sounds great on paper. Are all the stakeholders on board?
That's right. Most of the states have met the power minister and have agreed on the proposal, which is to utilize the headroom from the FRBM limit set for the state. This will be prior to the 14th Finance Commission led FRBM limit. This will help states to certain percentage of the loans can be converted into state government-backed bonds, which will lower down the interest cost of these states by 14 to 15,000 crore. This special provision will be for 2 years, and this will be done under the special provision of prior period adjustment by these states. This will decrease the interest outgo to 3 to 5%. But how is this going to actually make states operate well? The center will ensure that it thoroughly monitors the plan of metering, feeder system being put in place, the everyday operational issues of the DISCOMs, and also have set aggregate technical and commercial losses of electricity by 15% by the year 2018-19. So all of this will be monitored by the central government, and most of these DISCOMs and the representatives from the 8 debt-ridden state DISCOMs have met the power minister and have approved in verbal that they will abide with this. Power Minister Piyush Goyal also met the bankers, and this will now need a final approval by the cabinet till it is implemented. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Anshu. Of course, this is a story that Anshu broke right here on CNBC TV 18, and following it up, as she mentioned, that most state governments have now completed the consultation process with the government. A cabinet approval is required at this point in time to take this forward. But in a sense, unless and until state governments really crack the whip as far as T&D losses are concerned, as far as tariff escalation and other matters are concerned, we are only going to be shifting the burden from SEBs onto the government's balance sheet. So it's not necessarily the best idea or viable in the long term, but of course needs to be addressed in some form or fashion at this point in time, and that is exactly what both states as well as the centre are looking to do. But let's move on to another story that we've been tracking very closely here on CNBC TV 18. The Supreme Court has now decided to go ahead and levy an environmental compensatory charge on commercial vehicles that enter the capital of Delhi as well as the National Capital Region. Ashwit Kumar has been tracking this story in court. He joins us now. Ashwit, so the Supreme Court backing what the National Green Tribunal has had to say as far as the compensatory charges go, but the exact amount, I understand, will be decided on Monday.
Well, indeed, it's been an action-packed week as far as this issue is concerned. We've seen the NGT pass orders. We've also seen the Supreme Court perhaps express opinions on whether or not the NGT orders will enjoy any validity once the Supreme Court orders pass. I'll come to that in a bit. But as far as the levy is concerned, the levy of the environmental cess, which the petitioners have been careful to warn has not a tax but merely an environmental cess, an environmental charge, there appears to be near unanimity as far as all the stakeholders are concerned. The petitioners, the centre, the Delhi government, the Supreme Court on its part, there appears to be near consensus that pollution pollution is a major menace, that it needs to be gone into, it needs to be tackled, and eyeing trucks as the major pollutants, the course of action that has been decided upon broadly is that the environmental cess shall be levied. The Delhi government has proposed a levy of between 700 to 1300 rupees. They've provided for exemptions for personal vehicles as well as for trucks that are carrying essential supplies, but broadly what we are looking at is an environmental cess in the range of 700 to 1300 rupees. The Supreme Court on its part has clarified that the NGT order will not survive once the Supreme Court comes out with its final order 1. They've also clarified that this will be a trial scheme which will be in operation for a duration of about 4 months. The Supreme Court will review the progress after that. They've also in fact invited a representation from various states which will also be a party to the scheme, neighbouring states of Uttar Pradesh, of Haryana. So clearly at least the course of action appears to be decided upon. On Monday we'll of course get a more precise figure as far as the quantum of the levy involved. Back to you.
Something else we have to watch out for on Monday is our trucks that are not destined for Delhi but go through Delhi to other destinations. Are they going to be allowed to do that, or are they going to be diverted via Panipat? The NGT had proposed that, and Shireen, let's not forget the NGT had proposed a green tax at a much lower level of 500 to 1,000 rupees a truck. I guess we'll get clarity on Monday. Well, let's head to Dalal Street now. UK-based private equity firm Apex Partners is all set to acquire a 23.2% stake in Zensar Technologies. And while this deal will see the PE firm acquiring the entire stake from Electra Partners, no money is going to be infused into the company. Kritika Saxena caught up with the chairman of the RPG Group, Harsh Goenka and Shashank Singh, to get the final contours of this transaction.
We're absolutely delighted with the partnership. Apex, who's now going to have a significant shareholding of 23% in Zensar. What Apex can bring is a lot of knowledge that they have as in the IT space. They have had recent acquisitions which they have sold recently at very good prices. Then they have a lot of international clients whom they can bring to us as potential clients. And more than that, Apex is a great partner with a great legacy.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to working with them.
As far as the contours are concerned, it's an exchange of about a little over 23%. So would that mean that Apex would come onto the board of directors, Zensar, as well?
So you're right, it's 23.2% to be exact. We do not have a board seat currently. We'd be requesting the company and the board to, if they so chose and saw fit, to appoint us to the board.
Okay, fair enough. I believe that you will choose fit, Mr. Goenka.
Well, it depends on the board. I'm just a single member on that board.
Okay. Mr. Goenka, my point is, Zensar, of course, has been expanding across the board, and in the mid-cap IT space, we've seen a significant leg up. But going forward, how will you utilize the funds that are coming on board? Will that largely go directly to Electra Partners, or will there be some kind of equity coming in, or some kind of capital coming in, sorry?
All the funds go to Electra, unfortunately.
Correct. So would there be any kind of fresh issue that would be required as a result of this?
No.
Okay.
And the company has enough resources and leverage to raise resources whenever it needs.
Okay. Is there an option in that case for Apex to hike stake at a later date?
At 23%, we do not intend to increase our stake any further.
Well, that's the deal of the day, and it broke right here on CNBC TV 18. But let's get you the big political story, and this comes in from Bihar. The Prime Minister there campaigning in full swing. Of course, he is pulling out the firepower, given the fact that the pre-poll surveys seem to suggest that the BJP may just be in trouble in the state. The Prime Minister today holding two rallies, one at Sasaram and the other one at Aurangabad. And yesterday he had broken his silence on the beef ban issue, and today he was on to targeting the Nitish Lalu combine, saying that they came out with an abuse for him every single day despite having no solid reason to do so, while his biggest opponent, Nitish Kumar, went on a rampage on how Prime Minister Modi does a lot of halla about nothing.
दिन रात क्या बोलते हैं? मोदी 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 को गाली दो, गाली दो. सुबह डिक्शनरी खोल करके बैठ जाते हैं कि आज मोदी को नई गाली कौन सी देंगे. अब तो डिक्शनरी भी खाली हो गई है, तो उन्होंने एक फैक्ट्री खोल के रखी है, नई नई गालियां बनाने की फैक्ट्री. और वो फैक्ट्री से रोज माल लेकर के निकलते हैं और दिन रात मोदी को गालियां दे रहे हैं।
यहाँ भाजपा वाला कहता है कि गौ हत्या पर प्रतिबंध लगाएंगे, मुझे हंसी आती है। अरे यहाँ तो प्रतिबंध पहले से है, दुनिया चांद सितारों पर जा रही है, अब तुम लोगों को आपस के झगड़े में उलझाना चाहते हो। 225% का इजाफा मांस के उत्पादन में गुजरात में मोदी जी के मुख्यमंत्री रहते हुआ, और यहाँ आकर के आप मांस का सवाल, क्या क्या सवाल उठाते रहते हो।
Campaigning reaching a fever pitch just days before the election code of conduct kicks in the state of Bihar. More politics is possibly a first in Indian political history. The Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal of Delhi has sacked a cabinet colleague of his by holding a public press conference. That too after playing out a recorded message which seems to indicate the tainted minister Asim Khan was seeking a bribe from a builder. Arvind Kejriwal, who of late has been in the news for all the wrong reasons, has tried to just earn some of the much-needed brownie points by claiming to walk the talk of being an anti-corruption crusader. The Delhi CM has sacked the Delhi Food Supplies Minister Asim Khan. That's after a builder recorded the now ex-minister seeking a bribe and forwarded to the state government. Kejriwal has in fact referred the case to the CBI and replaced Asim Khan with Imran Hussain. And Shireen, Kejriwal at that live press conference on television not just sacked the Asim Khan but also said if his son was found in taking a bribe, he would do the same to him. Here's more from the Chief Minister.
हमारे कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर आसिम साहब के खिलाफ भ्रष्टाचार की एक बहुत संगीन कंप्लेंट आई है। उसमें शिकायतकर्ता ने लिखित में काफी लंबी शिकायत की है और 1 घंटे का ऑडियो क्लिप भेजा है। हमारे पास आई कंप्लेंट और उसके बेसिस पे हम लोगों ने उसको एसेस किया और 24 घंटे के अंदर, कल कंप्लेंट आई थी, रात भर बैठ के हम लोगों ने इसका असेसमेंट किया है और आज हम निर्णय ले रहे हैं कि हम उनको मंत्री पद से हटा रहे हैं।
Well, that's Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. They're sacking his own minister on charges of corruption. But Asim Khan has said that this is unnecessary action and that he will fight back as well. But let's head to the state of Maharashtra and to the Marathwada region, where our colleague Archana Shukla has been travelling for our special series, What's Ailing Rural India. Archana found that soybean farmers have been very severely impacted. In fact, soybean accounts for 1/3 of the oilseed production in the country, and they've been hit adversely on account of the poor rainfall. Let's take a look.
The region of Marathwada and district of Latur in particular has seen rainfall deficiency of about 52 to 55% in this season, and official records tell us that crop productivity has fallen by over 50%, which means most of the crop in Kharif season has been wasted because of deficient rainfall, or rather no rainfall in this season. Most farmers in this area who used to earlier cultivate cash crops like cotton had moved in the last 2 to 3 years to crops like soyabean.
The shift to soyabean made sense a few years ago. The investment needed was relatively small and demand was rising.
आप यहाँ पर 2 बार सोयाबीन बोए हैं?
हाँ, बोए हैं।
अभी क्या कर रहे हैं आप यहाँ पर? क्या फसल हुई?
क्या ना मोड़े वाला।
खराब हो गई फसल?
हो गई, हाँ।
तो अभी आप क्या हटा रहे हैं फसल को?
हटा, हाँ।
In a matter of just this season, in the last 3 months, he has spent about 80,000 rupees, 84,000 rupees on this land, all of which has gone waste.
The problem is that 87% of the cultivable land in Latur is dependent on monsoons for irrigation, and the irrigation infrastructure in the remaining area is poor at best.
This region has 2 big dams, Manjhar Dam and Terna, that service water for irrigation purposes, and about 8 to 10 smaller and medium-sized projects run by the government that provide some water for irrigation.
However, with deficient monsoons, this infrastructure has had no reliable source of water and has been rendered ineffective. Even for drinking water, the people here wait for supplies that come once in 15 days.
यहाँ पीने के लिए पानी नहीं है गांव में, दूर दूर से लाते हैं, फिल्टर से पानी लाते हैं, पीने के लिए भी पानी नहीं है यहाँ पे।
तो सिंचाई के लिए पूर्ण रूप से बारिश पर निर्भर है।
हाँ, बारिश पर निर्भर।
The state has tried doing its bit, like the 5,000 crore rupee ambitious Jalayukt Sheval program, of which the government has spent 1,000 crore rupees so far. This is funded jointly by the government and the people. But the results have fallen short of expectations. The one hope farmers in Aurangabad now have is that the rabi crop may be saved if the tail end of the monsoons is a little close to normal.
सितंबर महीने के फर्स्ट और सेकंड वीक में जो बारिश हुए है उससे चलते रब्बी की फसल अच्छी आएगी। रब्बी की फसल के लिए जो बुआई के लिए जो जमीन में मॉइस्चर लगता है वो अच्छे पैमाने पर है।
अभी आप क्या रब्बी के लिए सीधे?
रब्बी के लिए ज्वारी के लिए वो ही कर रहा हूँ। आप बारिश गिरने के बाद ये भी आएगा, नहीं तो ये भी चला जाएगा।
With Archana Shukla in Latur, in Mumbai, Arundhati Ramanan.
That's another depressing story there coming in from the Marathwada region, Latur district in specific there, the plight of soybean farmers. We will of course continue to track that and more. But it is time for us to head into a break here on India Business Hour. But when we return, will Infosys surprise the street once again? Kicks off earnings season. Details when we get back.